Hi, Limit Break Overdrive with another Path of Exile video. This one is about the patch notes for the Crucible expansion. I just want to do a quick recap of things that stood out the most to me. And I want to start with the League reworks with Breach and Abyss. As for Breach, I mean, they give more density to the breaches and they lower the splinter drop rate since there's more monsters. It makes sense unless the balance is not right, so that is fine. It's gonna be slightly more dangerous, obviously, because there's gonna be more monsters, so I'm not sure about that. I like the fact that there's fewer breach stones. I just hope that we can still get as many as we were getting before. Other than that, we're gonna have to play to see. As for Abyss, I'm pretty happy with the change because that's not a league I really enjoy farming, like running around and doing the thing for basically just a few jewels that I'm gonna vendor, most likely. Now, the spires are gonna spawn in maps, not always, but in my opinion, we're gonna get at least as many Stygian Vises, but probably more. Like last league, my first Stygian Vise I got like almost 3 weeks in. I got really unlucky with the Abyssal Depth. And speaking of Abyssal Depths, they're gonna always spawn a Lich, and they made the Lich stronger, but that's fine. These bosses were pretty easy overall. I just wonder if we're still gonna get the Spire down there, since we don't get Spires anymore in Abyssal Depths, probably since it's a boss fight, but so that is fine. As for the mastery changes, buckle up because there's a lot. I'm not gonna mention them all, but for me, armor mastery giving +1 max res when you get armor on your body armor, your gloves, helm, boots. This could be hybrid gear, so that's good. It's basically +1 to all max res for most character, I guess. Maybe not like Witch and Shadow, but that's still pretty good. The attack and claw mastery, as you can see on the screen, attack has some interesting things. Like, I'm not a big fan of the adrenaline when you switch stances because it's just 1 second, and I don't want to just spam left click or like break my keyboard after 2 days just to get adrenaline. So I'm not gonna use it, even if it's strong and it's the meta. Pretty sure it's gonna be because adrenaline is strong. But the claw mastery is really interesting. There's a lot of like neat thing, like mana and life gain on hit, instant leech, like double like dual wheel attack speed bonus. It's quite fun actually. And now we get to something I find a bit strange. Like a few leagues ago, they removed the mastery from the reservation mastery that was giving like 15% increased reservation efficiency because everybody was taking it. It was too strong, so most people lost 1 aura back then, and now they remove even more. That's a spoiler for the remove part. They remove like standalone reservation efficiency, like for determination, grace, and whatnot. But then they add again the mastery that gives us efficiency. It's 12 instead of 15 like it was back in the day, but it's on mana. Like, it makes sense in a way because it's mana reservation, but it's reservation. I don't want to have to go out of my way and take a mana node for that. So some build will have to do that. So these points you waste to get this notable just for mastery, basically, you don't have for damage or other defense types. So it's a nerf to most characters, I think, because you're gonna have to spare some skill points for that. But yeah, this is strange because they removed that because it was too strong, and now they put it back in the game. So it's probably gonna be too strong again. I don't know. I don't understand this one. And the Mark Mastery has something pretty good. You might even just switch out to that when you do bosses. Is crit immunity against marked enemies. So if you're using a mark before going and fighting the Eater of Worlds, you could just spec out of that to out of another mastery, for example, Frenzy Charge on hit against marked enemies, and just use that so you're safer, especially in hardcore. So this is cool. Reservation Mastery gives again maximum all res if you reserve both mana and life. This is the case for the build I play, but most people will probably just reserve level 1 vitality just to get that, which is probably a pretty good idea. And poison or bleed immunity in a mastery, I believe it's the attack mastery. Oh, sorry, it's not attack mastery, it's hybrid armor and evasion mastery, which is pretty good. Like, you could use dexterity helmet, you boom, you're poison immune, you kill Alismin, it's a joke. Or if you have more armor, then you don't have to care about bleed for your flasks or whatnot. It's something pretty interesting, I feel. You've got a choice, you can't get both, but I mean, you get the other one elsewhere. So I thought that was pretty fun, a pretty good idea. Now, as for the removed masteries, like I said, they removed all the reservation ones for precision and determination, and we don't get them back on the weapon skill tree. Like we saw that on the reveal, and I thought that they just moved them for this league, but it's again the one we saw is adding reservations, so Grace is gonna cost like 65% instead of 50, for example. But it's more powerful, so it's somewhat of a downside. So we don't get them back. The only way we can get back, is, like I mentioned, is for the mana masteries. But I think it's really bad. Like my Bone Shatter build, I might lose War Banner until the very end, but I think I can get it back. But some build we're gonna lose an aura, or they're gonna have reserve life and be like less tanky. So, and we already lost an aura not too long ago, so I'm not a big fan of that. Kind of sour. I was sour yesterday. I kind of get over it, but yeah, still, I'd rather them change that, or I don't know, do something. My guess is they did that because everybody, or almost everybody, was using Grace and Determination and Defiance banner, so this way it's way harder to get those, because these two auras add like a reservation node. Pride does not, unless you get Cluster Jewels, and I use Pride as a melee fizz guy and Determination, so already just that kind of fucks me in the ass. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be fine, but it's gonna be, again, losing skill points to counteract that, so less damage overall. The cluster changes on the tree, like I saw a few nice changes. Like I'm not talking about cluster jewels, but like the notables. A multi-shot cluster gives one additional projectiles for attacks like Lightning Strike, Molten Strike. This is amazing. There's a cluster jewel that does that also, so you basically gain 1 projectiles if you play one of these builds, and this is something that interests me this league, so I might tinker with that, and I think it's in the range of the Thread of Hope jewel, which is even better. The Fortify cluster is also interesting. You get +3 max fortification instead of 4, but you get 0.1 regen per fortification stacks. So basically at 20 you would get 2% life regen. So 2.3 if you get your 23 fortification with the +3. So it's like free regen. I might even go out of my way and take that, because life regen is really good. I really like life regen. And quickly, I want to end the video on something a little bit more positive than just removed masteries, and it's the new addition. Like, the league mechanic itself looks pretty fun and I assume pretty strong. I still have some reserve because of Scourge back in the days. Like, that was really promising, but the downsides were so bad and the upsides so bad again, like just very few were good, that it wasn't fun. Like, it was a shit ton of RNG just to get something usable. So I fear it's gonna be the same, but I mean, again, it's still more power. It doesn't change your weapon, it's not corrupting it, it's not breaking it, so it's better than Scourge in my opinion. But I'm excited about that. I guess some people were gonna get pretty strong weapons by fusing the trees and whatnot, so this is interesting. And the Atlas Tree Keystone, like the gateway to warp from one side to the other of the passive tree. We're gonna, I assume, save a lot of skill points for that, or even just early on. If we don't, early on we're gonna be able to, for example, go and fetch some expedition nodes and go on the other side and go do beasts, for example, whatever we want to do beyond, without traveling. So faster farming when you get the maps. It's, again, a good change. The only thing I'm not really a big fan of is the reservation thing, like the nerfs for leveling with wands. I don't play spellcaster, so I don't give a rat's ass about that. Spells are already better than melee. Maybe not Bone Shatter, but it's one skill against an archetype, so yeah, sure. And they still have a recipe for wands, like percentage spell damage, I believe. Like physical damage on weapons, you get percentage fizz with the rustic sash recipes. So it's kind of the same now. Spells will struggle slightly more for leveling, but again, it's not affecting me, so I can't really speak about that if it's that bad or not. So I would look at spellcasters just to know if this is really bad, because I play melee, obviously, because this is all I do on the channel. You probably know that if you found my video. So other than that, pretty excited for New League as always. The reset and the New League mechanic, it's exciting. I will tinker with the Bone Shatter build and put it back like up to date for the league. And if I have time, I might want to do another one. I'm not sure. I don't want to promise anything, but I plan to do like a second build guide, because I mean, I like doing build guides when they work. So again, thanks for watching. I'll try to keep posting content until the league launch, and see you on the beach. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.